Hey, Hot Route Take listeners, this is your co-host Christian speaking. Kind of give you a couple of announcements we've got going on. We're still working on our social media. So if you want to look us up, everything's just Hot Route Takes. Also, some big news coming out of Hot Route Takes is we actually started a YouTube channel. I know a lot of people like YouTube, and that's kind of their thing. So go hit the subscribe. We're, like I said, it's working progress on all our social media, but showing the love that helps us a lot and helps grows the channel. So, that's really the only announcement I really have for us.
All right, welcome to Hot Route Takes. The official free agency window opened today at 4 p.m. This is Wednesday, March 15th, 2023, and there has been plenty of action over the last 2 days in the legal tampering period. And today, we are diving into some of our favorite moves and also some of our not favorite moves. So, buckle up. Here we go.
All right, Brian, I guess we'll start with one of the moves we kind of hadn't hit it on, and it's kind of dealing with the draft. We can kind of kill, two birds with one stone. Chicago went out and got their wide receiver number 1 and DJ Moore out of the Panthers. I think it's a great move, and it's going to help Justin Fields' development and kind of shows the Panthers are, going in a place to get their number 1 quarterback. And for the Bears, I think it's just a great move to kind of build around Justin Fields and see what they got there.
Yeah, I completely agree, man. They have Darnell Mooney. They have Chase Claypool. They got
Cole Kmet.
Yeah. Amon-Ra St. Brown's brother. I can't remember his name. It starts with E. But, so they got a nice little receiver room now because they got a number 1 guy in DJ Moore. They didn't overpay, I don't think. I think they got a pretty decent deal to trade back and land a player and a couple extra picks to help him build that team up. And I really don't think the Chicago Bears could have done any better to start off their 2023 season. DJ Moore is clearly the best receiver I think Justin Fields has had since he's been in the NFL. And I think with a lot of quarterbacks, when you get the number 1 guy, it kind of shows you what they can be. We've seen this over the last couple of years with Josh Allen and Tua and a couple other guys. But, I'm certainly excited for the the Bears and Justin Fields, man. It's great for him. Do you have anything else on it?
No, we can kind of continue talking about the Bears. They went out and kind of spent some of that big cap they have and went and got Tremaine Edmonds off of the Bills. Technically, he's free agent. It's not off of their team, but you get what I'm saying. And they kind of paid this guy, a bag and guaranteed him $50 million. But I think it's just he's the best linebacker in my eyes available, and you have the money, so you spend it. I just wish they maybe would have, maybe not that much, as we're seeing these other linebackers are kind of on friendlier deals, I guess is a better way you can word it.
Was that a front-loaded deal? Do you know? Because, if it's a front-loaded deal, I don't hate it. I really don't.
It's 4 years, $72 million, and the deal includes $50 million guaranteed.
That's a lot of money to give to a linebacker, though.
It is.
Granted, he's only 24 years old, man.
He's young.
He's only 24. That's a star for the next 5 years.
I think with their cap, they're going to front-load it just because they have all that cap to go ahead and pay it. To not push it down the road because there's no point.
Yeah, there's no point. That's what I was thinking. And if it is indeed that, I like it because he's a really good player, man. He's different than a lot of linebackers. He was asked to do in Buffalo. Most linebackers can't do that. He can cover a lot of ground.
Yeah.
His zone drops, he can cover a lot of ground. So I think he's just a very unique player, and he is worth that money.
Yeah.
And they teamed him up with a TJ Edwards.
Good
That's
pickup.
Really
they got
solid.
Steal, man. Steal.
I know they still need to work on the D line, but you got to feel real good about that second level. The only thing is, how good do you feel about spending that much money on linebackers?
Yeah. Another thing I guess we can kind of talk about real quick. Cincinnati loses both free safety and strong safety. And Von Bell and Jesse Bates. Von Bell goes to the Panthers. And then you got Jesse Bates going to Atlanta.
Yeah. Bengals re-signed they signed Jermaine Pratt to a 3-year, $21 million deal. I do like that move. I know they lost their 2 safeties, but I'm not sure what their cap room looks like right now at this moment with all the wackiness that has went on over the last couple days. All the teams' cap rooms are a lot different.
Well, they have the Joe Mixon, the whole thing off the field with Joe Mixon to even go about even paying him. You got T. Higgins and Joe Burrow all coming up this year.
Yep.
So you're going to lose some of these big players, like I just said, Jesse Bates, Von Bell.
That sucks. That's a tough pill to swallow to lose Jesse Bates. I mean, they kind of knew this was coming, but
they
that's a top-tier safety.
Last year?
Yeah.
And that was, I guess, their one last chance to try to meet a deal with them.
Yeah. I kind of want to go back to the Bears for a second, man. They got quite a few things going on over there. They shored up this offensive line a little bit. They got offensive guard Nate Davis. They signed him to a 3-year, $30 million deal. And that will greatly help because that Chicago offensive line, like many things, needed a lot of help. And they did that, and they're, I think, positioning Justin Fields to have some success next year. What do you think?
Yeah, they needed to fix that offensive line. I think it was them and probably the Commanders that had probably the most quarterback hits. And we seen Justin Fields, running for his life, and almost every game. And then there's people out there saying he's not talented enough. Well, he hadn't really got a chance to set his feet when he's out there with no offensive line.
He's running for his life every other play. It's hard to trust yourself, what you're seeing, because you're worried about getting hit all the time. But I think they're positioning themselves well. With the next team I kind of wanted to mention was the Minnesota Vikings. What do you think about what they're doing?
Man, kind of doesn't make sense to me because you just have that playoff run. And, more than likely, with the news we got today that we'll definitely hit on later, with Aaron Rodgers more than likely definitely going to the Jets at this point. The division, other than Chicago and Detroit, the Vikings to me are the clear number one before they just went out there and we'll see you, cut. It kind of doesn't make sense to me what's going on. I know Brian Flores is there, and a lot of these defensive guys maybe don't fit his system. But it's just wild to me you don't try to build Brian Flores mixes his system in with these players they just went on this run with.
Yeah, I was curious as well because, Minnesota was very good last year. They went on a run, and, a lot of the reason they struggled in some of the games they'd lost is because their defense just couldn't stop a nosebleed, man. It was just horrible. And so they transitioned from Ed Donatel, Fangio disciple, cover 6, to Brian Flores, which will be a more man-dominant system with a lot more moving pieces up front. And so I'm sure they'll have to change some things, a lot of things on the defensive side of the ball. But you look at the talent they have across the board. They got players across the board. And you look at their offense, they're loaded.
Yeah, they did let Adam Thielen walk out. Well, I don't know if he wants to walk. I understand he is older, lost maybe a step this year, but also Justin Jefferson has took a lot of what he had and catches yards.
For sure. I think Adam Thielen lost a step a couple years ago, and he was maybe on track to lose another step or whatnot. He was getting paid, so I don't blame him for cutting Adam Thielen, but I'm looking at Kirk Cousins, man.
KJ Osborne, their third wide receiver, he's actually improved.
Yeah, he's a solid
last year
player.
he played good.
Yeah,
and had games where he showed out in a way. So I see why they cut Adam Thielen, go cheaper, save money, and I don't know what they're trying to build with all these cuts they're doing, but
I'm sitting here looking at it like this, bro. I'm thinking if they're tearing this thing down, given their defense needs to be rebuilt, but most of their offense is still intact. And if I'm Minnesota and I'm a fan, I'm thinking next year we're going to try to make another run at this thing. But this almost makes me feel like they don't believe in Kirk Cousins.
It doesn't. And I know he didn't get a deal this year, but he's getting paid a pretty good penny in Minnesota.
Yeah, he's getting paid, man. What's his contract look like?
I'm not sure. You can look it up real quick. But what I just don't understand Pat Pete had his best years in Minnesota. I understand new defensive guy come in. They let him go. Their other young corner, Cameron Tiller, I believe, he got claimed by the Washington Commanders. So, they lose 2 of their corners. I know they went and got another guy today. Who was it? Let me look.
Who, the Vikings?
Quick. Yeah.
They signed Byron Murphy.
Yeah, Byron Murphy, which...
Good pickup for them, man. That's perfect for a Flores defense. I can tell you that.
What do you think they're going to do? Make him play in the slot role just man-to-man? I
think just because he is in Flores defense, those guys are all going to be moving around. He's going to want guys that can play inside and out. I would anticipate they'll move him around a good bit. He'll play in the slot. He'll play outside. He'll play matchup. That's a really good player, and he's a really good fit for that system.
Yeah.
However, the Kirk Cousins contract, he is on the books. He's got a $20 million cap hit. But if they were to cut Kirk Cousins in 23, they would have $49 million in dead cap.
Yeah, I mean, the only way they get rid of him is trade him. And at this point, I don't think anybody wants the Kirk Cousins experience.
No, he has a cap hit of $29 million and 24, cap hit of $10 million and 25, $4 million and 26 and 27. But yeah, like if they do wait till after June 1st, his dead cap's only $10 million this year, and they do save almost $30 million against the cap. So that is possible. If they're tearing this thing down, we could see Kirk Cousins get cut in June.
I don't know, man. I don't know what they're really doing over there. It kind of amazes me they're letting all these guys go. I mean, Smith, they got from Green Bay. He wants out.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the defense coming over that he's not, or he sees what's going on like we do, and they're letting all these people go knowing it's their pieces to kind of take that next step.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It could be, like you were saying, a scheme fit issue for him, or he could maybe think the same thing we are here. I mean, honestly, if I am Minnesota, I mean, at one point they obviously believed in Kirk Cousins, but I don't. Nah. As far as like I'm trying to win a Super Bowl, Kirk Cousins isn't the guy I want to attach my wagon to, but he's certainly a solid player. I am not trying to say he's not. I'm not trying to say he's bad, but he's. They might be looking for an upgrade.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely. Is there any other moves you kind of want to talk about head on?
For the Vikings?
Just in general, or even the Vikings, what you see?
Well, I was kind of shocked, man, that they brought back Garrett Bradbury, the center. Yeah. First round pick in, I believe, 2018. I might be wrong on that. But he's kind of underperformed, man. He didn't live up to expectations. He's undersized. He really struggles to anchor, and I understand he's a very scheme-specific player, and that's a good scheme fit for him. But still, even in the wide zone heavy system, he struggles. He's a good mover, but like I said, he just doesn't really have much of an anchor at all. And I anticipate they would look for a better player, but like we were talking about, they might be tearing this thing down. So
yeah, and we've heard rumors or words. I don't know how true it is, but Dalvin Cook is supposedly on the block. But we've seen in this free agency, just the running back market's not what it used to be a couple years ago. I mean, a lot of these guys are getting $10 million and under, kind of like the franchise tag, and I guess the NFL teams are using that as, heck, if we franchise tag you, it's $10 million, so why am I going to spend all this money on you when the franchise tag is sitting there for 10?
Yep.
And that's the market value for y'all.
Yeah, I was looking at some things earlier, and something I was surprised about was the tight end market and what it looks like right now. Mike Gesicki, still out there. Dalton Schultz, still out there. And I'm wondering what these guys are going to get, man. Like Josh Oliver, primarily a blocking tight end in Seattle, got $7 million per.
Yeah.
$21 million dollar deal.
Get over that. I'm thinking $8 to $10 million on those guys. Definitely Mike, just because last year in Miami he didn't have the production. Dalton has the production though, so maybe he gets over that $10 million mark, but just the market's kind of down in those positions that we hadn't seen in the last couple of years.
Yeah, and it really does seem like the NFL is prioritizing blocking tight ends. It's been an interesting shift in NFL ideology over the last decade. We've seen teams, basically turn into a passing league.
Yeah.
And then defense is countered and played primarily in the nickel defense and played coverage and had coverage linebackers, guys that could run and play in space, and now offenses are coming back and getting bigger.
Man,
they're signing blocking tight ends, and
they get these defenses in nickel. They just, big body these little bodies, and you can imagine what's going to happen.
Yep, I think 12 personnel has been getting more popular each year. So, just something interesting. It's kind of crazy how a lot of these blocking tight ends are getting the money that they are, honestly, just compared to what they normally get. But yeah, that's all I got on the Vikings. You got a team you want to talk about?
Not really. Just some moves, man. We can kind of talk about, Taylor Heineke going to Atlanta. Desmond Ritter's there. I think that's kind of interesting for me, seeing that my Atlanta just spent that money on Jesse Bates. I'm not very sure what they're leaning towards, I guess, future-wise, bringing Taylor Heineke in. I know he isn't, I guess you would say, a franchise guy or a starter going out. But I guess it kind of shows maybe a little bit of concern with the whole Desmond Ridder progression and process they're going through with him.
Well, yeah, I can see that, but I also look at it like this. What has Desmond Ridder proved? Like,
I agree.
He hasn't proven anything, and are you going to really hinge all of your season success on a unproven player that hasn't done anything at NFL level?
Yeah.
I like them going out and signing Taylor Heineke. I think he's probably the single best backup in the NFL.
Oh, I agree,
for being 100%. Honest. That's the best backup quarterback you get, and his contract showed that. What did he get? 20 mil?
Yeah, 2-year deal worth season? Up to 20 mil.
That's a lot.
Probably, if he gets so many starts, he'll get more money, stuff like that.
His cap hit, like if he were to start, right, and he was to hit all the bonus incentives and everything like that, he's almost on the books for the same as what Stephon Gilmore is.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. That's a backup quarterback.
Definitely in that division, man. Worst case scenario, the season isn't going that good. You can put Taylor Heineke in there and still probably end up winning that division.
Yeah. The Falcons have made a bunch of moves.
Man.
They've made a bunch. We talked about Jesse Bates. He got the bag, 4 years, $64 million. $23 million in year one. That's a good player.
Yeah, I think a lot of these teams, kind of like what I said about Chicago, it's like they're paying these guys up front for even like the 4-year deals, 2 years, and then that back 2, they can kind of cut their losses or cut their ties if they need to.
Yeah, and then they can also stay flexible for when their competitive window hits. They'll have that little bit of extra money to have an extra player here or an extra player there. But the Falcons, they made a lot of moves on the defensive side of the ball as well as the offensive side of the ball, but they brought back Lorenzo Carter on a 2-year deal. They signed David Onyemata for a 3-year deal, $35 million, and signed linebacker Caden Ellis to a 3-year, $21 million deal. That's a lot in that front 7 group right there that they're fixing up, and they needed it. Atlanta could not stop the run at all last year, and this is how you fix that. So props to Atlanta, man. They're doing good things over there. They definitely shored up the offensive line as well.
Yeah, they went and paid, I think, they definitely have the highest paid offensive guard when they went out and paid Chris
Lindstrom
a 5-year deal, $105 million.
Jeez, dude.
That is a monster contract for that guy. I'm happy for him, for a big guy. Yeah, I'm happy for him. Man, go get your money, big guy. But I guess it shows Arthur Smith is going to keep kind of what he did last year and just run the ball. I would think definitely signing this contract.
I respect it. I kind of like what they're doing here. That's a lot of money for a guard, man. Like, I can see a tackle getting that, but not a guard. That's almost like paying Tremaine Edmonds $72 million. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
It's kind of like I was telling, or we both were talking about earlier. The market this year is different. I mean, the running backs are not getting their money. The corners are really not getting theirs. The safeties and guards are getting most of the money.
Linebackers too,
and linebackers. Another move Atlanta did. I mean, they got this guy for, nothing. Jonnu Smith. I guess New England's cutting their big money spree that they did, a year or two ago.
Worked out great for them.
It didn't kind of work out, I guess, how Bill Belichick thought it would. So they get rid of this guy. They get a 7th-round pick. So I
like it, if I'm being honest.
Oh, for Atlanta, I love it. A good blocking tight end. Not Kyle Pitts, I'm not going to say isn't a blocking tight end, but it's just an actual blocking tight end, and Jonnu Smith, and his best 2 years in the league was with Arthur Smith.
Yep, in Tennessee. However, he is a little bit of a move piece guy. They'll move him around a little bit, and I think we're going to see some 13 personnel, bro. I think they're going to play some 3 tight end sets. Kyle Pitts, whoever else, and Johnny Smith. So I like it. They also signed a fullback. We know they're going to run the ball. But yeah, that's all I got for Atlanta, bro.
Yeah. Let me look. Kind of just looking around the league and seeing if any move really stood out to me.
About the New Orleans Saints.
Yep,
Jameis Winston.
I don't understand the whole Jameis Winston thing.
Uh-oh. News came through on the pod.
What you
Some
got?
good news, bro. I like this. The Saints signed former Lions running back Jamal Williams. 3-year deal.
Dang, the only thing that questions me about is the Alvin Kamara off the field problems. Does this question you, is Alvin Kamara even a part of this team next year?
Well, if I'm looking at this, just looking at personnel-wise, I'm looking at this thinking like, well, I guess this is the player that's going to fill the Mark Ingram type role.
Yeah, that's true.
And Alvin Kamara will be that third down back pass specialist, gun player, if you will. But yeah, New Orleans.
They also re-signed Michael Thomas to a 1-year prove-it deal.
Dude, what? I definitely thought he was gone at this point.
I did too, but also, you have Chris Olave there, and kind of what else?
Yeah, I know, and the receiver market was not nice this year.
So I guess you go with the guy that's been there in the system. Give him, he's been good to y'all. Be good to him this one last time. Like, you play healthy, go get your money. I guess is how I look at it.
I struggle to see it happening, bro, honestly. But, I think it's a high ceiling play.
Oh, it is. If he's healthy all year, a steal.
Still, yeah, I would agree. Gives Derek Carr a nice weapon to throw to. But you like Tampa Bay, what they've done so far?
They went and got Baker Mayfield. I'm excited. More to see Baker than Kyle Trask out on the field. In this division, man, it's up for grabs. It really is by all these teams. And Tampa Bay, other than Tom, somehow they're keeping a lot of their pieces that people thought they weren't going to be able to keep.
Well, I'll say this to all the Hot Route Take listeners. Christian here has planted his flag in the ground.
Oh, man.
For Baker Mayfield.
Baker's like he planted that field, in college.
Oh,
right in the middle of the field.
There. Nice play.
I'm planting mine with him. This division, what you're looking at, Derek Carr, the Panthers, we don't know at this point. Baker, and then, drawing a blank.
The Falcons.
The Falcons be Desmond Ridder. If he plays good, man, he easily could be the best quarterback in that division. It's kind of sad, but
no, bro, I'm not on board with that.
You're
Derek
not on
Carr?
board with that?
Derek Carr, best quarterback in that division.
He is, but Baker's got the better weapons in my eyes.
Anthony Richardson's the best quarterback in that division. Hold on.
Hey, I think Kyle Strack goes to the Panthers, man. I really do, but we're not going to get in draft talk. We're about free agents right here. But Baker has, Mike Evans is going to be there. Chris Goodwin.
Yeah.
It's going to be there.
I would be inclined to say this is a perfect fit for him.
Oh, it is. And it's, what was it? Let me look. A 1-year deal up to 8.5.
Yep.
That's up to, we don't really know what the actual deal is till, pen to paper.
Yep.
But I think, with their cap problem, that's a perfect 1-year guy. And if it goes bad, you get to see what Kyle Trask could be. It's a win-win.
Who says Baker wins the job?
Oh, Baker's winning that job. Number 1 pick, what was Kyle Trask? Nothing against the guy.
Second round pick.
Second round pick.
Well, if it was all about just being a number 1 pick, he would still be in Cleveland.
Yeah. Since we're talking about number 1 picks, another guy that was a top 3 pick, Sam Darnold, finds a new home. The 49ers. What do you think?
Well, I've said it, and I'll say it again. Man, look, Sam Darnold will show some flashes of some arm. We've seen it. We've also seen him string together a couple decent games. He had a pretty dang good game I saw live last year when Carolina played Detroit. That was one of the best games I think I've ever seen him play. However, Sam Darnold, whenever those ghosts start coming out or whatever, but I don't think he's going to be a starter, or by no means, but I do think he could step in and surprise some people, man.
No, I do. And I think it was a safe move to kind of what we seen at the end of the season. They had these injuries at quarterback that, never happens to a franchise. And it kind of, you lose your starter in Trey Lance. You have Brock Purdy come in, hurt.
Jimmy G.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about Jimmy G even being a part of that team. He got hurt so early. And then you have, who was it? Josh Johnson, that's been on every team. I think he's been on more teams than Ryan Fitzpatrick at this point. He's been on every team. He goes out there, concussion. Then you got a guy coming back out there with one arm. I think Sam Darnold was just more of a
insurance policy.
And we hadn't really heard anything else about the whole Brock Purdy situation.
Yeah.
It's been quiet on that end.
Well, he had a successful surgery. Yeah. I did see that, but the timetable for his recovery is still kind of up in the air. Yeah. They don't know what they're going to have, and it's really a big question mark. You're talking about a guy that's not going to be able to throw for months.
Yeah, and I think another question mark is Trey Lance. I think that's why they go get Sam Darnold, because like you said, he showed flashes, and I think the 49ers is one of these teams, they're built so good. You don't have to have an amazing quarterback to go out there and win games. And I think Sam Darnold, I don't even think it's them doing the decision-making at the quarterback position. I think it's Kyle Shanahan's just offense is so great and such a good play caller. We can see a whole new Sam Darnold if, worst-case scenario, Trey Lance, 1, get hurt, or 2, isn't worth the number 3 pick that they spent on him.
Yeah, I can see that. And I think it's interesting because Sam Darnold is a player that, if you look at his strengths and his weaknesses, you wouldn't typically say he's a fit for that system, as far as that system relies on timing and good decision making to know where to go with the ball. It's a West Coast scheme. They throw the ball over the middle of the field a good bit. They throw a lot of short passes, a lot of extension of the run game, and that's kind of why Brock Purdy, given his limitations, was able to have so much success. And I just look at Sam Darnold, and he has a crazy arm, man. He's always had it. He can fit balls into tight windows at times. He can be a little sloppy with his footwork, but in general, he has a great arm. And where he has struggled is decision making. So I'm kind of just interested to see how he would do in a system like that. But 49ers, they have a lot of work cut out for them to try to find this quarterback.
We have some new breaking news that I know would definitely be excited about. The Dolphins has officially released Byron Jones. This is official. Miami will get $13.6 million in cap relief.
Well, that's good.
That's another guy going, but Jalen Ramsey's coming. I'm not going to say to take his place, but that's another trade we hadn't hit it on. Miami got this guy for a third-round pick?
Third-round pick and a tight end, Hunter Long, who has barely saw the field, bro. He's got 200 snaps, including special teams. I will preface it with this. I am a Dolphins fan, and I like that we have Jalen Ramsey. I do. I look at the team and where our weaknesses are, and I just think that money could have been spent better elsewhere, and we could have got more, a little bit, I would have been cool with Byron Murphy at a much lower price than $40 million per season, and that's a really good player. He's not Jalen Ramsey, but he's a good player. We got Xavier Howard on the other side of the ball, and we desperately need O-line help, if you ask me. And if I'm the Dolphins, I'm looking at this team, the number one thing I got to do is protect Tua, because if Tua goes down, you're screwed.
You did go sign Mike White. We can hit on some of these Dolphins pickups since, I kind of brought them up. But we go through Miami and just see kind of what they've done like we did with Minnesota. You go get your backup Mike White.
I like that move a lot. I will say that.
It's better than what we seen on the field last year. Teddy Bridgewater, I'm good. Well, Skylar Thompson hadn't got developed enough to be kind of thrown to the wolves is a good way to put it.
I would agree. He had probably people... He deserves some respect, but people kind of overrated what he did because he did not play well. He didn't.
Man, it was tough.
But Teddy Bridgewater could go somewhere next year and probably have some success.
Yeah.
Really. We saw Jacoby Brissett go to Miami and look horrible, then go to Cleveland and look all right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He just signed with Washington. I don't know how or why you do that. I guess he wants a starting job. Sam Howell's there. He can get the starting job. But I just wanted to hit on that since you brought his name up. Another move that the Dolphins did was safety Deshaun Elliott for a 1-year deal.
I love that move as well. I think that's a player that can fit in and play deep coverage next to Javon Holland. They're going to be playing a lot more two high safety looks, and he's perfect for that. And now we have a nice 3-man safety rotation with Javon Holland, Brandon Jones, and Deshaun Elliott. I like it a lot, man. I think that was a nice, economically friendly choice to have. And I got another Dolphins player that was one of my favorite picks of free agency so far. Linebacker David Long from the Tennessee Titans.
I've kind of heard, granted I hadn't looked too far in him, but supposedly out of Tennessee, he was having, I guess, like tissue injuries, lingering, and that's kind of why they cut their ties. Are you worried about it, or?
Well, we brought back Duke Riley as well. We got Jerome Baker, and we'll probably still be playing a decent amount of nickel, so we'll have 2 linebackers on the field primarily most of the time. And I like Jerome Baker, and I think this is a guy that can fit right in next to him. Yeah, the injury concerns are there, but it's mostly soft tissue stuff.
Yeah,
like Devontae Parker, if people are familiar, but it's not as bad. It's a lot of like hamstring pulls and like just little things here and there. And yeah, where that bothers me, it does a little bit, but he was one of the best run defenders in all of football when he was healthy. And I think that's something that helps Miami a lot. And he's also more athletic. He's only 26, I believe. He can play in coverage a lot better than Landon Roberts. When we did our free agency landing spots, I had him going and picking up Anthony Walker. And I would say this is a better fit. It's a better economic decision as well. I like it a lot, man. I think David Long could have a great season this year.
Yeah, the only thing y'all did that kind of just doesn't make sense to me is you brought back this whole running back room, and Jeff Wilson's making more than Raheem is.
Yeah, I don't quite like what we did in the running back room. I don't hate it, but I just wish we got some young, fresh legs in there and kind of parted ways with at least. I was hoping we were going to keep Raheem Mostert.
Yeah, 2 of these guys should have went out the door.
Myles Gaskin? What? How's he on the team?
Man.
But anyways.
Let's look. I mean, we can kind of talk about. I guess. No, what you got before I don't want to cut you off.
Just the news for Jamal Williams' deal came through. 3 years, $12 million.
That's a steal, man.
$4 million per. It's not bad.
That's a steal.
I think he broke a record for Detroit last year. I think it was like the most touchdowns. Maybe consecutive games or maybe in the season, man. It was pretty impressive. But
trying to see where this was a couple hours ago. David Montgomery, what was his contract?
He signed to the Lions.
Yeah, I'm just curious on what his money hit was.
About to find it.
Because
3 year, 18 mil, $6 million per.
18.6. 312. I don't get why the Lions love this guy so much and talk so big upon him. He's got a lower deal and left the building. Kind of blows my mind.
I guess they were just looking for a player that could fit next to Swift a little bit better. Yeah. I think that's really what it boils down to. Jamal Williams has taken a lot of the touches that maybe Swift was good at. And I think when you have Swift and Montgomery, you got 2 guys that are almost interchangeable. Swift gives you more on passing downs, but Swift's really a pure runner, man. He's a guy that can run between the tackles, run outside the tackles. He can do all that stuff. And I think he jives well with what David Montgomery does. They're both guys that can run inside the tackles. It doesn't quite make a ton of sense, though, because you're talking about a guy that had a lot of success last year and was a big part of that offense. But, they have the reasons, I guess.
Yeah, they just Detroit re-signed, a lot of their guys. Matt Nelson, offensive tackle. They went and re-signed.
They brought back...
who was it?
Alex Anzalone.
Yeah. Oh, they actually, I forgot about this, kind of snuck under the radar. A 1 year, $6 million deal for Emmanuel Mosley.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good pickup in their corner spot that a lot of people got them kind of drafting. But I think going to pick him up.
I don't think so anymore. Yeah.
You don't spend that draft pick. So I'm wondering.
They also brought back Will Harris.
Yeah. And they're sitting at what pick?
6.
6. Jalen Carter at this point could fall, and I mean, imagine going to get him at 6, man.
Man, if they can land him or Will Anderson
up the corner spot,
yeah,
man,
I like it. I like that.
Well, we at least put some respect on kicker's name, Matt Gay of the Colts. One of the largest contracts, I think, out of a kicker in, I mean, a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess it's a good move for the Colts. I mean, Adam Vinatieri was there for so long. I guess it's just one of those things. They like having a sure kicker.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, the Colts really, they re-signed wide receiver Alton Dunn. No, he really hadn't proved much, but I mean, that was Matt Ryan behind the helm. It's been a rough, I mean, really 2 years now with the Colts. I mean, they've released Matt Ryan's released. They traded Stephon Gilmore to the Cowboys for a 5th-round pick. I mean, another one. I feel like a lot of these trades are just very one-sided. Is the teams wants to get rid of the money, and it's kind of whatever you give me, I'm more than happy to take.
Yeah, it does seem like that. Looks like the Colts are another team that are probably going to tear it all down. Didn't they get rid of Matt Ryan? They cut him?
They released him officially. He's done.
Yep. He's done. He's going to retire.
Nah, he wants to play still. Somebody, somewhere.
Bro, that arm is dead.
If Andy Dalton is playing for the Panthers, I'm just kidding. I ain't going to do that to Andy Dalton. He played good for the Saints. I mean, outstarted Jameis Winston.
I don't know, bro. Matt Ryan, his arm is cooked, bro.
It is, man.
He could not throw the ball down the field at all last year. Like, at all. So, I don't know. Maybe he does keep playing.
Yeah.
But, who else, bro?
The Eagles, we kind of hit on some of their stuff. They re-signed, I mean, a lot of their veterans. Jason Kelsey, had the shots with the GM manager saying, he's not going anywhere. They did draft, his replacement, but I mean, you're keeping Jason Kelsey on this team as long as you can. And they re-signed, Fletcher Cox, 1 year, $10 million. Darius Slay, their number one corner got released. That's a big name on the market now.
Yeah. And they did bring back James Bradbury.
Yeah, and then Hargrave went to the 49ers. That's insane to me. You lose that team so close.
They've got one move, bro, that I really like a lot here, and that was signing Rashad Penny.
If he can stay healthy, man.
Because, look, Miles Sanders is a good running back.
But that offensive line
is
elite.
It is. And I'm talking about Rashad Penny. Man, I'm a fan. I think he can really eat behind that line big time. Like, have a career season, 1,000. This could be a 1,500-yard rusher, bro, if he stays healthy there. Really.
Yeah, easily. Miles Sanders, nothing against the guy, but how much is it really him versus that offensive line?
Yeah.
Boston Scott, he's been there for forever. It feels like in the Eagles, but even that guy, he gets the ball and he's getting 8-10 yards every carry, and he's not a big back like Miles Sanders.
Kenneth Gainwell out there, he's doing pretty well. Like you're saying, I think a lot of the running success does come off the back of that offensive line. And Miles Sanders, although he is a good player, I'm not trying to say he's not. I just think Rashad Penny could bring that to another level.
Yeah, I agree with that. Another team that kind of been doing a lot of big moves, man.
Sorry.
What you got, man?
I'm mind blown at the deal he got, bro. Rashad Penny, 1 year. Guess how much, bro?
I think it was like $3 million, something like that.
1 year, $1.3 million.
1.3. He's been hurt a lot, man.
I know, but jeez, dude. You want to talk about a high
ceiling?
Reward?
Yeah. But it's 1 year I think he's playing the right card, man. He's seeing what we're seeing. This is an elite offensive line. I have a chance to, 1, win a Super Bowl, 2, up my value, and get one, not a big contract like we're used to seeing out of running backs, but a good contract next year.
I completely agree, man. I think Phillies, they did well.
Yeah, and then I think the whole point of them releasing Slay, I kind of want to hint more on that, is Connor Johnson, the safety. Goodness. Mm-hmm. They're trying to bring him back. I think it was one or the other, and you go with the younger piece, is what I'm kind of thinking.
Yeah, I can see that. It does suck losing Slay, but sometimes you have to make those decisions, especially a really competitive, loaded roster like the Eagles have. Yeah, they're going to lose some good players. Another team I wanted to talk about was the New York Giants.
Stowed. Darren Waller is all I wanted to start this off with. Stole that man.
Yeah.
I think Josh McDaniels got upset that, Darren Waller just got married. He didn't get an invitation to the wedding.
Oh, did he not?
No, he didn't. So I guess I'm not invited to your wedding. You're not invited to my building kind of thing.
Do you think Darren Waller would be that guy for them?
Man. I think this is more of we signed Daniel Jones. We need weapons. Darren Waller's there. It's kind of, you get a, third-round pick for him?
Yeah, the ceiling played last 2 years, really.
Yeah, but technically, they traded Kadarius Toney for Darren Waller.
Yep.
And Kadarius Toney did what for them?
Nothing. That was a waste of a draft pick.
So Darren Waller better than Kadarius Toney if healthy. This could help Daniel Jones so much in this offense.
It could. I almost wonder how good will Darren Waller be with what you gave up for him. Would it have been a better deal to go get Mike Gesicki, who is a lesser player, but he's 80% of what you get in Darren Waller?
And he's going to be healthy.
Yeah.
And
he's younger.
He is. But Darren Waller, man, at his best, man, he's one of the best tight ends in the league.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue that. He surely is. But it's just a health thing. And how good will he look? It's been a while since he's been out there consistently.
Yeah.
But certainly should help Daniel Jones. They did bring a big, another big news. Miles Sanders going to the Panthers.
Get rid of Christian McCaffrey to go get Miles Sanders. They kind of already have a couple backs, though, Devontae Foreman, I was a fan. He looked good there to me. Chuba Herbert, he hadn't really, produced what they kind of wanted out of him. But, you get Miles Sanders starting and keep Foreman as your third down back. That's a nice little duo backfield. Definitely in that division.
Yeah. Yeah. New York Giants also brought in linebacker Bobby Okereke from the Colts. You like that?
Oh, I do. That's a good linebacker for the Colts.
Rangy.
Yeah, and they're missing a big piece now on that Colts defense, but helps the other side in New York so much. And they have, who was it? Smith at linebacker, getting younger and faster. And I think it's kind of been a position they've been needing for a while now in New York, is the linebacker position.
Yeah. That's surely something that will improve that defense a lot. They needed a linebacker bad, and this is a really good player here. However, I got another player for you, or another idea, I guess. The Indianapolis Colts. They're tearing everything down, right? That's what it looks like.
It looks like it, man.
How long do running backs last in the NFL?
As of recent, there's only a couple outliers. Really, man, I've been looking into it, and I think it's your original deal, your rookie deal. And that's after that, you're done.
I would agree. This is year 3?
3 for Jonathan Taylor, man. That's a nice piece.
He has a lot of miles on those legs.
He does.
From his time in Wisconsin.
Wisconsin, and then his MVP run he did.
Could you see the Colts moving him?
No.
Bro.
Definitely.
If they're tearing it down, bro.
Yeah, but if you're going to get a young quarterback, you want your young quarterback to take the hits and miles, or you want your running back to take it that you got on a rookie deal?
That's true. And
his potential, man, they have seen it.
Oh, he's a great player. But by the time they're competitive again, he's not going to be what he was.
Yeah, but the Colts, I think, are just one of those teams, man. I understand Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck. I just feel like they're one of those teams that are kind of always there. Somehow, some way, they're there.
Yeah. I think a lot of that has to do with their GM. He has done a pretty good job. I think he just didn't ever do enough.
Yeah,
he didn't put his chips in the middle and say, this is going to be the year we're going to get a good quarterback.
I think kind of what happened, man, is the whole Andrew Luck messed them up, man. They had it. That was when Andrew Luck was there. I'd like to see what this team could and would have been if Andrew Luck was still on it.
I agree, but you got to be able to adjust and change things on the fly. And these 1-year deal Carson Wentz, 1-year deal Phillip Rivers, 1-year deal Matt Ryan, they're just giving up, man. Swing your swing the bat. Go draft somebody. Go get a big name. Don't roll with these guys over and over and over again. That's ultimately what made them have to tear everything down because they had a good team. You got anything else?
The Raiders is another team I kind of wanted to hit on. I mean, dude, you get Derek Carr out the building, and I mean, Raiders fans are Aaron Rodgers. I mean, shooting all these big names, and you end up with Jimmy G. And then, I mean, at this point, what you have Philip Dorsett coming in, Jacoby Myers is coming in, Darren Waller's out. I mean, I don't really understand what the Raiders have going on over there. I mean, they've done some other moves. And re-sign Jerry Tiller, older guy, defensive guy.
Jarrett Stidham, right?
No, Jarrett Stidham went to be Russell Wilson's backup in Denver. That's another team I want to hit on, but kind of just the Raiders. Well, I mean, what's going on there, you think? I mean, definitely in this division, man. I mean, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Russell Wilson, Jimmy G. I'm taking all three, even after what last year was for Russell Wilson, man. I'm taking those three guys before I take Jimmy G.
Yeah, I am too. And I'm just looking at this division and what they have. And, man, what's the goal? Like you were saying, I'm not really sure what direction. They're just one of these, like, directionless franchises, I think. And I'm just – I know this might not be a popular take, but the Patriot coaching tree has been horrible. Horrible.
Ain't nobody like Bill.
Ain't nobody like Bill. But even Bill. Bill is a great coach, and he has a lot of success to back it up. But last couple seasons, I'm sure he's pulling the strings over there.
He stick to his guns, man. Even in the draft process, you're like, man, they can get this position, corner, safety. You don't need that anymore.
Cole Strange, 3rd round prospect, drafted in the 1st round.
He's one of those guys.
N'Keal Harry.
He likes his guys, and he's going after them no matter what.
I just don't like what they've done. Like, there's no superstar players on that team in New England. None.
Man.
None.
There's not.
And, like, I feel like they get worse incrementally each year.
Since Tom has been gone, it's been getting worse. I mean, Jacoby Myers, they could have easily, they have the cap to sign that same deal he went to the Raiders for and chose not to. And it kind of blows my mind because
it almost makes you think Jacoby Myers wanted out.
Nah, that's true.
And, they had this weird co-offensive coordinator system going on last year. And Mac Jones he went and voiced his struggles to another coach in the league and asked for help. Just think about that.
Insane. Probably been done, but just not to one of Bill Belichick's guys to go talk to another coach blows my mind.
And it got back to Bill Belichick. I'm sure he lit Mac Jones up.
I believe it.
But going back to the Raiders, I'm looking at their coaching staff and Josh McDaniels and what he's trying to do, and I don't quite understand what he's going for. I don't jive with what they got.
Man, what I'm seeing, man, to be honest with you, is kind of what happened when he went to Denver. I mean, he's bringing his guys or however you want to word it and making this roster just not definitely in that division, man. I mean, at this point, you got rid of Derek Carr's money just to go get, 2 wide receivers and Jimmy G. Yeah. And to get rid of Darren Waller. That's insane to me.
That's just bad management, in my opinion. But what do you think about Dallas? What they've done?
Ezekiel Elliott is no longer part of the Dallas Cowboys. Ooh. Jerry Jones will be crying about this one for a while. That's one of his guys.
I wonder where he's going to go, man.
I don't have a clue, man. It does create, let me look, release as post June 1, which
almost $11 million,
$10.9 million in cap. Which, I mean, they need it. They still got a couple holes to fill. The Stephon Gilmore, kind of what we hinted on earlier. Good move for them. Needed really another good corner. Their corner 2 position last year was a mess, is a good way to put it.
Yeah, and what this reminds me of, man, I really think this defense will take a step. This is a big deal for them. Getting a corner like Gilmore, who is a little bit older, but he's good. Yeah, he's still got some in the tank.
I know this isn't a player, but another win to me was keeping Dan Quinn. That was a big win for them. Not letting him out the building to get a head coaching job, and now going to get Stephon Gilmore and already has Diggs there.
Yep. It kind of reminds me of the Byron Jones Xavier Howard tandem, where you got this one guy who just can plaster receivers and man them up, and lock them down. That was what Byron Jones did for Miami when he was healthy. I think Gilmore can play a similar role. And then on the opposite side of things, Trayvon Diggs can get more opportunities to bait quarterbacks into thinking his receiver's open. Then he capitalizes and picks it off. That's what he does. That's what Xavier Howard's best at. They're ball hawking corners. They might give up a bunch of yards, but putting Trayvon Diggs in maybe that number 2 corner slot or that number 2 corner role and allowing him to kind of be a ball hawk and do what he does best, I think that will bring the most out of Diggs. So I like what they've done a lot.
I agree. Another team kind of interested me is the Buffalo Bills. I mean, they lost a lot of pieces. They went and got kind of a number 3 or number 4 wide receiver. I think was kind of a good move for them. And let me look. Devon Harty from the Saints, number 11. His production isn't really there, but this is just a vertical guy that Sean Payton used to go kind of take, I guess, pressure off of Gabe Davis is kind of be his role to let Gabe Davis not just be the deep threat that they've kind of been hoping he would be. And then they also went and got re-signed Jordan Poyer, which we heard the whole Miami rumor going to Tua's birthday and all this. I think just how many pieces they lost, they had to go re-sign this guy.
That was his second choice.
Okay, it don't matter. He's a Buffalo Bill. But since we're talking about this division, another one we hadn't hit on, which is big news, is it isn't official, but Aaron has made it known on the Pat McAfee show today that he wants to be a Jet. And they're really, at this point, everybody's saying Aaron needs to hurry up and make his decision. His decision's kind of been known and in since, he said Thursday. He let them know he wanted to be a Jet. Just the Packers and Jets hadn't agreed on a trade, and they went and got Allen Lazard, his guy. And this whole list thing that they said he made is all lies. But, you kind of hinted on the show you're a Miami fan. I mean, have you seen this division now with Buffalo being the kings of it, and now Aaron Rodgers coming into a great, to me, setup with the Jets?
Yeah. What I would say is the Jets are definitely a contender.
Oh, 100%.
100%. However, that does come with a nice asterisk next to it, because one big thing is the Jets have not strung it together in a very long time. It's not often you go from a 6-win team to a playoff team. Granted, Aaron Rodgers is the kind of guy that can make that happen, but it's got to happen first. And that's a tough division, my guy.
It is, but their
real
defense,
tough.
Man, is a young, good defense. Their defense wasn't the problem last year.
No,
it was their offense. And it wasn't even their offense, man. It was more
Zach Wilson.
You know who I'm going to point at. It's Zach Wilson was the problem. And then even then you have Mike White come in. And these guys are just, nothing compared to Aaron. And they have, to me, Breece Hall, good running back, great running back.
Yep.
That's one of those guys, they hand it off, he could break it off and go to the house at any point during the game.
He's coming off an injury.
It is, but you have now Aaron there, Michael Carter, their backup running back. I think he'll still be there. He was a high pick a couple years ago. Mm-hmm. He's a good enough back to
he's a good,
Breece
real
Hall
good number 2 guy.
Get back into the flow. But I think just the weapons they have, man. What was it? Tyler Conklin, tight end that was not supposed to be kind of what he has evolved in for them. Mm-hmm. Garrett Wilson. Go get Allen Lazard. Elijah Moore still on the roster at this point. I think Corey Davis is going to be the odd man out because somebody's got to be with Allen Lazard coming in. Corey Davis is nothing against the cap.
Yeah, I think he's gone. I think they cut him.
Already? I'm pretty sure they did. Definitely at this point with Allen Lazard coming in.
Yeah.
But I think, crazy enough, man, I still see not Miami, but...
Gosh, they overpaid. I'm sorry.
For Allen Lazard?
Yes.
It's not that bad, man.
$11 million per season?
And Allen Lazard, man, you're not paying no other wide receiver on that roster.
I know, but... bro, what?
And for him to be, to me, the number 2 guy... I think that's not that bad, man.
I guess if you're
Corey
Davis walk,
Corey Davis is walking. Jacoby Myers had, a 4-year, 3-year, $33 million deal or something like that.
I think he's better, though, than Lazard.
Man, it's just Green Bay was not
It's Aaron Rodgers' guy.
It is, but to an extent, Allen Lazard, to me, has been a proven kind of guy. He's proven that he can play in this league. He put up, I think, 800 yards last year, a career high for him. He showed that he's a good guy in this league. I think you add Garrett Wilson, him, Elijah Moore. I mean, do with Aaron. I understand it has to click. I still think Buffalo is the king of this division. And then it's going to be a battle, Miami and New York, to battle for that 2 spot. Also, you have Tua that has to stay healthy.
If Tua stays healthy, or I think it's 1A Buffalo, 1B Miami, 2
Aaron
New York.
Rodgers,
That's just the way I see it. I understand there's a lot of people out there. It's all about Tua, but if you just look at this Dolphins team and what it was 2 years ago versus what it was last year, our defense was just so much worse last year. And our offense took a big step. And I think if Tua is healthy and we get what our defense was, we get something close to what it was. Dude, I mean, we're right there with Buffalo. That's really how I see it. And I think if Tua stays healthy, that's a big thing. But I think you got Tua needs to stay healthy. You need the entire New York Jets offense to click. Which one's more likely? And I think that's your answer. And who takes the number 2 spot in the division is Tua stay healthy? Does Rodgers click immediately? Because he did not look good last year, bro. He was not the same version of himself.
It was a lot of young guys, man. I understand.
That's what he's having happen in New York now.
Look at the skill set of these younger guys.
Oh, Garrett Wilson's
Christian
a stud.
Watson turned up, but he was a later pick.
No, he was a really early second round pick. I think he was like 34.
Yeah, and then they had the other guy. Can't think of his name. Goodness.
Who? The Packers?
Yes.
Draft pick or
no? The younger wide receiver. Goodness, number 87. Drawing a blank. Anyway, it was just a young group. Didn't connect, but skill set wise, and he has Allen Lazard there. Worst case scenario, if it doesn't click, you at least have one security blanket.
Yeah. I'm just, man.
And their defense, man.
It's
Sauce Gardner.
Oh, I know. Their defense is rock solid, dude.
Dude, that's... And he's teaming back up with his old offensive coordinator. I understand head coaching job was not his position, but when he was in Green Bay, that was the MVP, Aaron Rodgers, and the gold zone that they had going on in Green Bay. So I'm excited, man, to see what's going on. I know New York fans, New York Jets fans are screaming and so happy. This is the best quarterback they have had since the number that's about to come out of the Raptors and go on to Aaron Rodgers' chest. Come on, Brian. You don't know who that is, man?
They're not doing that.
Oh, yeah. He already said that he will give him the number 12.
Dude, I hope that place crashes and burns. Dude, I really think it can.
But Aaron did say on the Pat McAfee show he hadn't got that far ahead of numbers. He's not. But number 12 is available if Aaron wants it, is what been told by the players.
Their soul for Aaron Rodgers, man. All right, look, man, I'm going to just say this.
I'm listening.
You're planting your flag, aren't you? In the Jets.
The Jets. Listen, man, I didn't really give my Buffalo take yet, man. It's going to be kind of a crazy one, but I think Buffalo's window is slowly closing.
I agree.
I think the last 2 seasons were their Super Bowl or bust years, and they busted. I mean, they had in Buffalo a snow game against Cincinnati, and Joe Burrow,
that's exactly what they
became
wanted.
Their father in that game. I mean, that's really what happened. I understand Josh Allen's dealing with injuries and stuff.
They
supposedly
almost lost to Miami with Skylar Thompson at quarterback, and that was the worst playoff performance in the last 20 years.
Division rival that you build your team against to beat.
Yep.
And without Tua and you had it that close,
that was without a lot of players.
To be honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised if somehow Buffalo just definitely losing their defensive coordinator. I know.
Didn't they lose both coordinators?
I'm not sure. I know the defense coordinator took a step down for a year.
Yeah.
I think that's a bigger effect than what people are kind of making it out to be. I know Sean McDermott's defense, so he'll probably be calling the plays this year.
Yep.
On the defensive side. So it might not be that big of an adjustment. It kind of scares me.
They rely so much on Josh Allen, man.
Oh, he has to be their everything.
Everything. How long can he do it?
They need
he's a stud
to go get one of these running backs, maybe. But even then, that's kind of been their problem. They hadn't been able to run the ball good. So it's sadly, Josh, you're big enough to do it for us. So can you go do it?
Yeah.
And then by the end of the season, when it's his time to shine, that's when he's banged up and hurt because they've been making him run, which, I mean, he's a great runner. You have to let him run, but.
Yeah. I mean, I think if Bijan Robinson's there in their first round pick, they should take him.
Yeah, and a lot of people's got him going there.
They should.
Or even, I mean, Austin Eckler's, I would hate for him to go to Buffalo, but he's eligible to take a trade. Great fit.
Yep.
I mean, definitely with Josh Allen.
I don't think it will happen because Eckler's looking for that crazy contract, but maybe he figures out he's just not going to get it. Then
and seeing this running back market, man, he might realize, it's either I stay here or I can get traded and make pretty much the same.
Yep.
And hope once I get traded and have a good year with that team, they'll be open to pay me.
Yeah. But we're about an hour in. Do you have any final thoughts, Christian?
A couple other guys I can name off real quick. Juju going to New England. I don't understand that one at all. Blows my mind. Go to a Super Bowl team and now going to the Patriots. I mean, it blows my mind.
Banging on the door, bro. Who's that?
Yeah, it is. Pause it. And the Steelers is another team we kind of didn't hit on a lot, but they've been a team in the past that doesn't do a lot in the offseason. Went and got Cole Holcomb, a good linebacker. Devin Bush is no longer on the team. Go get Cole Holcomb. 3-year deal. The numbers hadn't came out yet, but and then went and got Pat Pete. I mean, the Steelers are actually making moves, and I mean, Kenny Pickett actually impressed. I mean, me at least last season, kind of being what he was and kind of what he turned out to be.
I just have one question with that. I think the Steelers did some good stuff, Pat Pete and Cole Holcomb, and shoring up some of their holes on defense, but why does no one say anything about Kenny Pickett and his concussions and coming back? And
okay.
Like, we're talking about Tua needs to retire. Kenny Pickett, though, you're good. You had to, but it's okay.
Yeah, but injuries hadn't been in Kenny Pickett's past as much as Tua. I understand that shouldn't be more. You can just sling the guy back out there, but
like,
that's what some people are going to say.
People were talking about Tua specifically, the concussions, he needs to retire. Specifically. And it just blows my mind, dude. Kenny Pickett. He just had 2 this year in his first season. Hell, 2 is in his 3rd year and has had 2. But, I'll just leave it at that.
It blows my mind that, like Miami drafted Tua instead of Justin Herbert, but we're not going to talk about that, are we?
I think that's a good spot to close the show.
No, there's one more last ending.
Okay.
We can end it on, we appreciate you listening. I mean, it's been a great couple last pods, but I'm just excited that Aaron Rodgers is going to win that division next year, and I think that's a great way to end this, with the Jets back on top since years and years ago.
I think we need to add one more thing before we finish at this point. We should start a series called Hot Route Bets.
Oh, man, I like this idea.
Yeah.
Hot Route Bets. Man, I hope there wouldn't be one on Aaron because, man, that's a good bet in my book to go ahead and win the season or betting odds or whatever you want to call this.
I'm saying between us, Hot Route takes bet for whatever. We'll have, the people decide, I guess, or find something. But the Dolphins or Jets, who finishes above?
Yeah, and we can do a little poll on Twitter. That'd be a good way to grow the Twitter. Do a poll. I think the Jets are going to finish better than Miami in that division next year. I feel confident in saying that.
I can't even get there, but I respect your opinion, man.
I appreciate it. I respect your opinion too, man. Just Aaron is the better quarterback in that matchup, man. I understand he's older, going to be 40, but
I think Tua can surpass him next year.
Okay.
But that's apparently a hot take. However, I think this will wrap up the pod today. We went a little bit longer since we missed Tuesday, but we wanted to have most of the free agency stuff out there, and we could kind of cover more stuff in one pod. However, we're going to continue to do 2 episodes a week. It's just kind of a little bit of a weird week and kind of a dead zone area. But appreciate everyone for listening. Tune in next time. Check out our social media. Appreciate the support, and have a great day.
Let's go, Aaron.